The first time that I met Liat, I was here in Israel. This is in the summer of 2010. We're both 26 years old. We are both volunteering at a conference in Tel Aviv. And the first time that I saw Liat, there was just something so warm about her. She seemed like she was so full of joy and welcoming, which didn't seem to be the normal thing that I was encountering here in Israel.
And the first time I saw Cody, I remember just him walking towards me, and I just saw the love of God coming out of his eyes. One of the sessions, I was on the camera right in the front on the dolly, and they had two people from the conference watching over me and my friends, and Cody had this bright yellow vest. God, like literally, he highlighted him to me, and I remember just looking over at him, and I heard in my spirit, I heard this voice saying, "He will guard over you." I kept it in my heart. I was like, okay, I just met this guy. How is he gonna guard over me? And then later, Cody was sharing his testimony on stage, and I was filming him, and so I got to hear a little bit about who he was. During the summer, we met a few more times. One of the times that we met, Cody basically invited me over to have some pancakes with him and his roommates.
The thing that really stood out though in this time is she's telling her story. In the midst of her telling me this story, there's this voice, there's like this inner audible voice I heard inside me, and it said, "This is your wife." And I'm now stopped and I'm thinking, wait a minute, was that my thoughts? Was that God? Was that the devil? Like, where did this voice come from? And as I'm thinking this through and she's continuing to tell her story, it comes again so clearly, "This is your wife." For the rest of the evening, I was kind of speechless. Like, what do I do with that information now that I've heard that? And so before we say goodbye that evening, I find out that over the next 3 days before I fly out, we're not going to be able to see each other. Our schedules don't match up at all. And so that night I prayed, "God, if this is really you bringing Liat into my life, I want to see her tomorrow and the next day before I leave, and then I'll know that this is from you." The next day, I'm walking from the house of prayer back to my apartment. I look into the middle of the park, and what do I see? Liat, but she's dancing with some other guy in front of a camera. And now I'm like hiding behind some trees, kind of looking like, what is going on? Like, God, did I not hear you? It looks like she has a boyfriend.
We got this project where we were supposed to do a music video clip, and I was supposed to act like I'm in love with this other guy. So we were holding hands and we're dancing in the park. I did not know that Cody would walk through that park that day.
So that was my first confirmation. So then the next day in the evening, we were both invited to the same wedding, but because of her school schedule, she was not able to go. But then a few hours before the wedding began, one of her leaders ended up coming to her and say, "Listen, we need one more person to come and film in this wedding tonight." I arrived to the wedding and I walk in, and the very first person I see is Liat standing at the entrance filming me as I walk in. And I just had this like this overwhelming joy just like bubbling up inside of me. And I'm just like, wow, God, you just answered this crazy prayer that I prayed, and you're confirming that you are the one that's bringing Liat into my life right now.
And Cody just basically disappeared from the wedding. He didn't even say goodbye, nothing. He just left. As I'm thinking, I wish he would like text me or call me or something. As I'm thinking that, I'm looking at my phone and I get a text from him.
As I'm back in Canada and the US, I'm now beginning to tell some of my close friends and family, I met my wife. I really believe it. God has spoken to me. I'm going back to Israel. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm pretty sure I met my wife. And Liat was actually here in Israel doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, I was telling all of my closest friends, you know, I met the one. And I wanted to share with them that whenever it did come to pass, that it would be like a sign and a wonder that yes, God can speak to us and wants to speak to us. He's so involved in every little thing in our life. How much more does God want to be involved in our future marriage and our future life with someone else?
By the middle of November, we officially began to date. And then over the next many months, about 5 months, we just continued to get to know one another.
We really have confidence that the Lord has brought us together, and that is our foundation. We can always go back to that and say, I know that He is the one for me, and I know that I am the one for Him.